One. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Legendary Sports Podcast. I am your host, Jared Michelson.
I'm Antoine Beeks. What up? What
Yeah.
up?
And I'm wondering why I'm decked out in all this Ravens gear. I went to the game out here in AZ today. So the 125 game here, the Ravens versus the Cardinals. Shout out to the Ravens with the dub. But yeah, so that's why I'm all decked out in Ravens gear today.
What up, man? How was the game? Talk to me.
It was kind of boring for the most part. I feel like it was 7-7 for a long time in the game, but you know what? We're just gonna start with a weird afternoon game since we're already on it. It was 7-7 for that game. But coming into the second half, it got a little bit more exciting. Arizona was able to put up 17 points in the fourth. Ravens got scored in the third and the fourth, put up 17 there. So it was just that second or that first and like partway through the second quarter was just kind of like, oh my gosh, when are they gonna put up any more points, man? Like if Josh Dobbs didn't throw the interception close to halftime, Ravens probably wouldn't have been able to put some points on the board. It would have been even more boring game than it was. So and Lamar had to do nothing. This was the Gus Edwards show. This was crazy. 3 touchdowns for Gus Edwards.
And then he'll let Donut next week. Don't worry about it, guys. Don't pick
I don't
him
know.
up.
He
Just
had
leave him where he
touchdowns
is.
last week, and the other part is they're actually throwing him the ball a little bit. He got 2 catches today, which is even getting one is rough for Gus Edwards. So for him getting two was kind of crazy. And Lamar looked at him on one of them, so that was kind of impressive. Um, Another player out here that was like I was kind of surprised by, and the stats don't show this at the end of the game, but DeMarcado was actually very effective for the Cardinals. Like as far as like he was moving like 5 chunk gains. Now he looks for 2 for 78 because there was a moment where they were just running him into a brick wall early in the game. But after that, he was like chunking out 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards. I was like, bro, somebody do something. Anybody do
Yeah.
like
That
he's
was a
not
Ravens fan in you, huh?
yeah, I'm like, bro, he's not Derrick Henry. Somebody tackled like they were treating him like he was Derrick Henry running all over him. I couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, this guy's not Derrick Henry. Why are you scared of him? If it was Derrick Henry, I get it. But it was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. So, but otherwise, there's not a lot of love from this game for a ton of fantasy. I mean, Josh Dobbs was serviceable, 3 total touchdowns. Andrews 4 for 40, 4 for 40 in the touchdown, but and Trey McBride, 10 for 95 in the touchdown. He came alive. Some of it late in the third, going into the fourth quarter. That's when he started to come alive. So, um, but yeah, we left a little bit early, and they did score a couple more points before the end of the game, but it was already enough out of hand where we weren't too worried about it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
cool,
we
man. I'm
recapped
glad you
that
got to go
game,
see.
so we'll scratch that for the rest of the recaps. Go ahead, man.
I'm glad that you got to go see your boys live in action, man.
I mean,
That's
too. I
great.
finally got to go see the Ravens live, man. It felt fantastic to just be able to go out there, and we were
That's
on the lower level too, and it was sweet. It was. I mean, I could actually read the jerseys, and everything like that, even without my glasses. Like that's how close we were. So that was cool. Um, yeah, when they were coming down to our side of the field, man, and we were in the Ravens sideline too, so that was sweet. And we had just a ton of purple in the crowd, so we definitely dominated the stands, And I feel like that's always with Cardinals. Like most people are transplant here, so they carry all, the teams wherever they're from with them, right? You know how it goes.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it was a sea of purple where we were sitting, so I felt right at home. I felt comfortable, not like I was gonna get jumped at the game or anything, so it was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
know that feeling for sure, man. But that's awesome that you was able to go and experience that, man.
yeah, it was great. Oh man. So we're gonna talk a little football recap on this one, guys, because there's a lot of wavy stuff going on. There's some weird stuff in the NFL. Derek Carr is going in today. Like, I don't know. It's such a weird day, man. You
You
can't
know
argue
what?
that Derek Carr did not go in today. When we get to that game, I will debate you on that, right? If you're gonna fight it,
I didn't say anything about Derek Carr. You
yeah,
know what? I'm
face,
just gonna
your
start on
face.
somebody.
I know how you
I'm
feel
just
about Carr in real life, so I know when you make that face, what that means. I know exactly what that means.
I'm just gonna start, man, here with Tampa and
Go for
the
it.
the Buffalo Bills, man. A Thursday night matchup. Um, this one, as you said, exciting. It wasn't really that exciting all the way around. Um, it had some fantasy stuff in here, but not from guys that you would expect. Baker Mayfield was 25 for 42, 237, and two TDs. So he was serviceable if you had to start him. It depends on what type of league you're in. Um, but I doubt a lot of people started him. Josh Allen was very, very serviceable with 31 for 40, 324, and two TDs. Um, that's to be, somewhat expected versus Josh Allen versus a
Yep.
Tampa Bay defense like this. But where all the balls was going was crazy. It was
All
Gabe
over.
Davis. It was all over, but Gabe Davis led the team with 9 for 87 and a touchdown. I mean, Dalton Kincaid had 5 for 65 and a touchdown, and Stephon Diggs had 9 for 70, no touchdown. But if you guys look out for Dalton Kincaid. I'm
For
also
sure.
about to forget about Khalil Shakir. He had 6 for 92. He's starting to come in that, but Josh Allen has these games where he's Josh Allen. He's gonna throw the ball. He's gonna get his numbers. But as
Yep.
far as starting these other guys like me, I sat Gabe Davis. Your wife, she sat Gabe Davis playing
Yep.
me in another league. Shout her out for that because Gabe Davis was on her bench with 24 points.
Excuse me.
He was on the bench with 24 points, and he was on my bench in another league with just about the same. Um, because Josh Allen, there's times where he throws the ball to Stephon Diggs and Stephon Diggs only, and then there's times where he's throwing it all over the place. What he didn't do, what I liked in this game, he didn't hold on to the ball for a long time and try to make something out of nothing. He was getting it out to guys that were actually open, hence to why.
Hey, we're back. We had a little technical difficulties, so there's going to be a little bit of a pause in this, but we're okay. We're back. We're just going to keep going and keep grinding through because that's what you do. You call it audible, you make the play, and you keep going. So, we were just finishing up the Tampa Bay Bills game, moving and going to be moving on to the next. But you had a thought on Rachaad White.
Rachaad White has 70 catches, 7 catches for 70 yards. Wherever he was in your fantasy lineup, he tore it up because he didn't run the ball well, but he has 7 catches for 70 yards.
Yeah, he's been
Chris
effective as a
Godwin,
receiver, but just not as a uh actual running back.
yeah, and those, in PPR, that was great for him. Shout out to your wife again. She had him. PPR, he tore me up.
Yeah, she snagged him from me when I was trying to get him in the draft.
All right, here we go.
Nice. All right. So if that's the end one for there, let me jump into pardon me. I want to do the man, I don't want to go into this game, but we're gonna do it. Los Angeles versus Dallas.
Why you didn't want this game? This one was a
Because CeeDee Lamb destroyed my life and well-being. 41 fantasy points against me. The worst team in the league in our league put up 41 against me. PPR, because CeeDee Lamb went 12 for 158 and 2 scores. Dak figured out how to throw the football. He had 4 passing touchdowns on his own. Crazy. I mean, he was just Cooks got a touchdown. Ferguson got a touchdown. He's just being Oprah out here handing out TDs. So
yeah.
like Dak's so inconsistent. I don't know if I'm gonna get like 1 touchdown or 0 to 1 touchdown, Dak like 150 yards, or the like golden arm like stud he can be 304 and 4 touchdowns. Like I don't know. Like
That's fair. That's fair.
oh man. But I mean, and so you got Cooks for 3 for 49. I'm not gonna go through all the guys that had like smaller parts, but they did score for, like I said, Cooks and Ferguson. Running game, and this is why I didn't draft Pollard. I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's available to be a guy. And when it comes to the ground game, 12 for 53 for a guy who was quote in the first round and first or early second, like, no, stop it. Stop it. There's a reason I didn't draft him, and I don't even feel bad for not. So
That's fair.
ridiculous. Another thing in this game, so switching to the other side of the ball, Stafford did get hurt, so he had like something with his thumb, I believe. So we'll have to kind of see what that looks like. But he up until that point, he was 162, 162 passing yards, a touchdown, and a pick. So, he serviceable still, but yeah, we'll have to see what the future of that holds because that's going to really take down Kupp, Nakua, pick a person that's going to really bring that whole offense down if he can't go. So Cooper Rush stepped in and maybe, or not Cooper Rush, Brian Ripon, I think it's Brian, right? Brian Ripon?
Brian Rippon.
Brett Rippon. There we go. He ain't letting them rip though. He ain't gonna be the guy letting them rip. I'm telling you right now. But yeah, we'll have to see where the offense goes from there. So I don't think it's going to be a great look for the Rams in the upcoming week. So tamper your expectations when it comes to the run game, the pass game, Kupp and whoever else. So it's going to be kind of tough sledding. Shout out to the Cowboys defense for doing what they've been doing for most of the season. So they had a pick 6 out here. So you start Cowboys defense. We're happy probably with them.
Well, you was talking about injuries. Kirk Cousins, man, went out with what seems to be a torn Achilles. We
Kirk
don't
with
know.
Achilles, huh?
Yeah, we don't know, but until then, cross your fingers. He was 23 for 31, 274, and 2 TDs all the way up until he got hurt. Right early fourth quarter. The Vikings still pull out the win. Alexander Mattison is just trash. Sorry for anyone who picked him up.
Yeah.
Not even gonna say his stats. He was just that bad. The run game was non-existent. Kirko was throwing that thing all over the place. KJ Osborne with 8 receptions. TJ Hawkinson with 6 receptions. Jordan Addison with 7 receptions. He spread it around to other people, but those was the top 3 guys. Osborne 8 for 99. Hawk 6 for 88 and a touchdown, and Addison 7 for 82 with a touchdown. On the other side of the ball, it just was not anything to be anything. I mean, Jordan Love is fighting for his life behind the offensive line. The receivers are young. If you're smart, you're not starting anybody from this game. It's even really bad for Aaron Jones, 7 for 29, right? 7 carries for 29 yards. They're finally stepped down a lot, so Aaron Jones can't even run the ball. It's just bad. I won't even.
Then let's go to another bad game and bad teams. And although that has some fantasy points, but some interesting stuff that goes on to it, the Atlanta Falcons and the Tennessee Titans. And thank goodness for the Falcons. Let me start there quick because finally you make the switch to Heinicke. Thank you, because Desmond Ridder is not it.
Desmond Ridder got hurt, by the way.
Good. No, not good. It's not good that he gets hurt. I'm just kidding. But thank goodness for Heinicke's well-being that he's not in, or Ridder that he's not in right now, because they're gonna make the switch this game anyway. They had to, because there's no way they can continue trotting out Ridder the way he's been playing. So, anywho, Heinicke was able to show a little bit of love to a few people. Let's see what it looks like when he's in a full week. Not really going to go through a lot of stats here. The best guy had 75 yards on their team. Everybody else was just kind of average, but they were basically fighting for their life. But Heinicke kept them in it, right? He threw a touchdown, 175 yards. If he had played the full game, maybe it's a different story. And Bijan finally found the end zone, although it wasn't pretty in the first half of the game. So, we'll see what that looks like maybe under Heinicke, though, that maybe the offense does improve a little bit. Going to the other side of the ball, Will Levis debut with 4 tutties. What are we doing?
Man, he was launching that thing.
Yeah, goodness. 238 yards and 4 touchdowns. Found DeAndre Hopkins on 3 of those touchdowns, 4 for 128 and 3. Like, to go 3 of 4 and 3 of those being touchdowns. Excuse me. On 4 receptions, 3 of those being touchdowns. That's crazy.
He had himself a day. Himself a day.
So if you started D-Hop, good for you. Westbrook had one of those touchdowns that was on just a one pass for 33 yards. Excuse me, everyone. But yeah, and Derrick Henry was able to get involved because the offense was actually moving. 22 attempts, 101 yards. So got a little bit of love out there. So that was cool. He also had 4 for 21 in the air for Derrick Henry. So, hey, you're not going to complain about that if you were able to use him. 14-ish fantasy points, 15 fantasy points. So, you'll take that. So that was kind of maybe in a 2 QB league, maybe Will Levis is it. Maybe that's what we need to go to.
Hey, there it is.
Yep. So we'll see.
Well, if there's a quarterback you're talking about you need to go to, I told you that the Indianapolis coach should have started Gardner Minshew. Told you that from the beginning. Gardner Minshew today was relatively middle of the road, 23 for 41, 213, and 2 touchdowns. But boy, did they have that run game going. Jonathan Taylor, 12 for 95. Zach Moss, 11 for 66 and a TD. And Gardner Minshew spread the ball around. Michael Pittman had 8 catches. Josh Downs had 7 catches. And then there was a bunch of other people who had catches, but Josh Downs 7 for 72, Michael Pittman 8 for 40 and a touchdown. They spread it all around. On the other side of the ball, Derek Carr, man, had himself a day. Go have yourself a day, Derek Carr. A day. You hear me?
Yep.
A day.
There you
That's
go.
it.
Show love where
that's,
love is
where
love
that's
belongs.
it. Just listen to the words. A day. Have a day. He's gonna have to prove it to me, man, more than just one time, because he
one time for the
stinks.
one time, baby. One
He
time for the
stinks.
one time.
19 for 27, 310, and 2 touchdowns. He did his best sharing it impersonation, which, okay. Let me just speak facts here and not speak biased opinion, because I cannot stand Derek Carr.
Yep.
But Rashid Shaheed had 3 catches for 153 and a touchdown.
Another
he was
one of
taking
those,
a top.
Another one of those
top off.
Like Derrick Henry, or not Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins type of performances of the day, where it's just like, bro, how are you that efficient?
Yeah, he was just taking the top off the defense, man. Like, it was just like the safeties for the Colts just did not know how to play safety, and they were just getting torched. Mike Thomas had 4 for 68. Alvin Kamara out the backfield, 4 for 51. Chris Olave, 5 for 46. Now let's get into this. This is just me hating. If you don't throw those deep passes to Rashid Shaheed, which is part of the game, where does that leave Derek Carr? Right? I mean, I feel like he got Mike Thomas.
But again, like you said, it's the name of the game. Some days those deep passes be hitting. So,
when they don't, he's trash. You can have it.
Yeah, well, that's probably most QBs. That's probably most QBs. But that is fine. Sorry, y'all. I got some runny nose over here. Got allergies going on right now. Speaking of allergies, New England is allergic to winning. They pulled out the stops last week, but that was a fluke. They are allergic to winning because against the Dolphins, they went back to who they are. Mac Jones, 19 of 29 for 161, a nice 161 yards. Woo! And 2 touchdowns. Great for you, Mac Jones. Can barely get anybody involved. Not even going to go through the stats for the receiving side of this or rushing. Nobody was even useful on the Patriots side of the team or of the game, excuse me. So we're going to the side of the game that is actually useful, and that is the Dolphin side of things. Tua cooked 30 for 45, 324, and 3. Was able to get, again, 2 receivers wilding this week. 112 yards went to Hill and a touchdown. And 121 went to Waddle. Welcome back to being able to do the Waddle. He also scored. They both did. So that was great.
Waddle.
Yep. Both had 7 receptions and 8 receptions, 7 for Waddle, 8 for Hill. So that was awesome. And they both got some that were over 30 yards, 31 for Waddle and 42 for Hill for the longest passes. So, good to see that they're back up and running. I mean, when you look at the stats too, Tua did get a lot of other people involved. I mean, there were like 1 or 2 catches, but spreading the ball around while still getting the big dogs what they needed to eat. So that's good on that offense. And Raheem Mostert, still the guy. Not wildly efficient, 13 of 46, but found the end zone. So you'll take that. So
yeah, for sure. They know how to spread that ball around, that's for sure. They do a really good job in that.
I'm gonna let you
But
keep talking, and I'm gonna jump off, not jump off, but I'm gonna go grab a Kleenex real quick. So you keep talking though.
well, I'll
Go
be
from that
talking
game.
to myself, and you better be fast because this game that I'm headed into did not have much of anything. You talk about quarterbacks that just didn't do much of anything. Zach Wilson, 17 for 36, 240 and a TD. Tyrod Taylor got hurt early in this game, so he was 4 for 7, 8 yards. Then Tommy DeVito came in and was 2 for 7 with -1 yards.
What?
If you
What's
had
happening? Oh my
if
goodness.
you had Saquon Barkley, boy, oh boy, did you have yourself a day in a PPR league. And I played Saquon Barkley in a PPR league. And let me tell you,
Three
it was
receptions for 0 yards. Those three catches, though, that's one of the reasons where PPR sucks. Is like you didn't even get any yards. You just got three catches. You got 3 points for nothing.
you know, they literally lined it up. I watched the game. They literally lined it up, and Saquon ran the ball every single time. It was just field possession. They play field possession. They play field possession all game
Well,
long.
it's like two
They play,
offenses that can't do anything. So it's
yeah.
like,
So
what do you have to
there's
worry about?
so Garrett Wilson had 7 for 100, which is great.
Yep.
Um,
He's the
Brees
only
Hall,
thing that keeps Zach Wilson alive. If Garrett Wilson wasn't on that team, Zach Wilson would be so lost.
Brees Hall, um,
And Brees Hall. I lied. Brees Hall, too.
Brees Hall caught one out the backfield for 50, and boy, did he put some moves on.
Yes, he did.
Man, he put some moves on and took that joint to the crib. But
Crazy.
other than that, there was no scoring here. There is nothing in this game. Um, I want to shout out Garrett Wilson for still making himself serviceable and available and being a guy with the type of talent that is around him. This Jets team is just awful when it comes to quarterback play.
Awful.
So if it wasn't for Saquon Barkley rushing that thing 36 times for 128 yards and Brees Hall with the long catch, this game has nothing in it. It was 13-10, a lot of field goals. Zach Wilson made some throws in overtime to get himself in the field goal range, but that's all that there was to that one.
Yep, it's
Not
a
much in
dud
that game.
of a week from that perspective. But something that was mildly entertaining, not great, but not terrible, was the Jacksonville. I was pretty terrible. Jacksonville and Pittsburgh
Yeah.
game. It was pretty terrible. 24-32 for Trevor Lawrence, 292, one touchdown, one pick. Nothing special. Was able to get a few people at least moving. Ridley was 6 for 83. ETM was 3 for 70 on there with a touchdown. And he had a good run too, a nice catch and run that was 56 yards. That was crazy. And then Evan Ingram, 10 for 88, who's been the guy, man. He's been a consistent threat for him all season. So shout out to people who drafted Evan Ingram. And shout out for Doug Peterson for bringing him from New York to be able to actually use him properly. So good for you, Doug Peterson. Um, excuse me, everyone. ETN also had 24 attempts and 79 yards on the ground. Did leave for a bit, but came back. So we'll see what that looks like on the injury reports throughout the week. Mitch Trubisky left injured, so that's not great. Because or not Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett left injured. That brought in Mitch Trubisky, so that's still not great. Uh, because as much as people probably may not like Pickett, he was at least starting to heat up, and Mitch Trubisky has never even gotten warm. So, so I don't know what that's going to look like for the future of the Steelers. Deontay Johnson was able to make something out of it, 8 for 85, but everybody else was kind of just there. You know, Pickens got a touchdown, but that was again when nothing else mattered. It felt like. So yeah, anyway, not a lot to go from this game. I can talk about how trash Najee is all day and night. He offers very little to the world. He averaged 5 yards a carry or whatever it was, or 8 yards a carry actually. But oh no, that was receiving. My bad. Nope, that's a lie. Nope, it was like 2 yards per carry. That was receiving. He actually got some receiving work for 5 for 42. My apologies. So yeah, but other than that, you're not starting Najee. You don't want to even look at Najee. You don't want to look at anybody on this team if it's gonna be the Trubisky. So move on.
You don't want to look at anybody if it's the Kenny Pickett show either. Trash.
Nope.
But
I want George Pickens if it's a Kenny Pickett show.
um, let's move over to some high scoring, some high like this game had a lot of people in it, and Sam Howell, man, threw the ball. They threw the ball a lot today.
Sam Howell's
Um,
the man. I think he's gonna be a good quarterback.
I don't know how good of a quarterback he will be, but 39 for 52, 397, 4 TDs, and an interception.
Both games he's competed with reigning Super Bowl contenders, like or competing against the Super Bowl contenders from last year. Um, like, bro, come on now. He has played lights out against them twice this season.
Didn't close the deal though. So when you win some games versus teams like this, then we can talk about it. However, he did throw the ball very
Okay,
well.
okay.
He did
That
throw the
is
ball
not.
very well.
Hold on. Pipe it right there. To be able to in your second year battle against these type of caliber teams and put the numbers up that you can, you gotta give some credit to that because it's clearly not all on him. He's doing his part. So
Well, you know what,
you're not
guys? He
throwing
had
four TDs and not doing your thing.
he did have a great game today. Had himself a day, right? Remember, listen to that part.
He's had
A
multiple days
day.
though. That's the thing. I have proof that he's had multiple days. So
He has. So why isn't anybody starting him? Are you starting him?
I should have. I should have dropped Stafford and started him. And if I have to start someone again if Fields is still out on my team, I'm picking up Howell. I am done starting Matt Stafford, and he's hurt anyway, but that did me a favor. So yeah, I'm absolutely gonna start Howell.
Hey, Sam Howell had himself a day, and you're absolutely right. He's had himself a couple of days. I would like to see him on the non-fantasy football side
Get some
close out
dubs.
some of these games. He
Well,
hasn't done
fix the
that.
defense for putting up 38 points up. Fix that, and that might help out a little bit.
Well, the Eagles defense isn't nothing to slouch at, and they let 31 get hung on them.
Exactly. That proves my point for Howell. I will battle for you, Howell. I got you, my guy. I will battle for you. Dude,
You
there's no worries
send him
there.
a signed jersey, Hal. Send him a
Yeah, send me
signed
a side.
jersey.
I will take it. Like you're the North Carolina product that's doing work. Mitch Trubisky went to North Carolina and he's just hurt that school badly. So you're saving them. So
Drake May is coming. Drake May's coming out
yeah,
of
he's
Carolina.
good too though. Yep, Carolina's got some.
Well,
Anyway, I'll let you go now. I had to get my rant off.
uh,
Take it.
so with him throwing all those passes, Jahan Dotson had himself a day, 8 for 108 and a TD. He spread it around to everybody. Who would have thought that Jamison Crowder would have had 7 receptions for 95 and a touchdown, right? Terry McLaurin, 5 for 63 and a touchdown. Logan Thomas, 6 for 44 and a touchdown. He hit 4 different people for touchdowns. And I know that you guys may not like this, but this is no longer Scary Terry's team, man. This is no longer Scary Terry's team. He has become the number 2 wide receiver on this team. It is all about Jahan Dotson, and Sam Howell is loving Jahan Dotson. That's his number
Well,
one
that's what they
target.
drafted Dotson to be, though. Is a either not a necessarily a 2, like a 1B, right? A 1A or 1B, depending on how that shifts. And you're right, it could be shifting. So
Yeah. On the other side of things, the Philadelphia Eagles did not run the ball very well. We were so used to DeAndre Swift doing his Swifty like things, and he just is coming to be back down to earth a little bit. 16 for 57, and a TD wasn't too flashy. I mean, he got you some points there, so I would continue to start him. Doesn't seem like anybody is threatening that job. Kenneth Gainwell with 2 rushes for -4 yards, so I think DeAndre Swift is safe. It just seems that when you got Jalen Hurts throwing for 319 and 4 touchdowns, it's just like, what can you do? You know, what do you want from him? AJ Brown with 8 catches, 130 yards. 2 TDs.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith, 7 receptions, 99 yards, 1 TD. This is what I was waiting to
Finally,
see out of this offense finally. I played against Devontae Smith, though, which sucked. But
I played against
this
AJ Brown, which sucked.
AJ Brown, AJ Brown was not to be outdone by
Devontae
uh
Smith.
not even Devontae Smith. He wanted to have his name still ring today with CeeDee Lamb
Oh
and D
yeah, he
Hop
was
out
up there
there,
with him
right?
for sure.
So he
That
was
one-handed catch though was crazy for the touchdown.
yeah,
Wild.
yeah. He's a guy, man. And this is why I drafted him. Where did I draft him? I drafted him 3rd overall in one league, and then he fell to 10th. No, I had 5. I had 5 and 10 in our leagues. So he dropped to 5, and then he dropped to 10 in another league for us, and I was just like, all right. And
But this shows that they can't sustain 3 people. So if you look at it, guess who suffered this time? It was Goddard, right? Goddard did not have a good game, but the last 2 weeks it was Goddard, and guess who did have a good game? Smith. The only one that stays consistent is AJ Brown. Otherwise, it's going to rotate between Goddard and Smith for who's going to be the second on the team and actually get quality work. And that makes it kind of tough to know who's going to actually come out on top between that.
yep. But you got to start him because you got to start him, especially where you drafted him at. I think it's going to be more so of the Devontae Smith than anything, though.
It should be, but we'll see. We'll see. Oh yeah. Here comes a barn burner, y'all. I don't know if you guys are ready for this game. It'll be intense. Oh man, we got the Texans versus the Panthers, and man, did we have a showdown of showdowns. 15-13. Woo, baby. You got juice for this one. CJ Stroud
Yeah.
back to a rookie status. 16 of 24 for 140 against, pardon me, Bryce Young and the superstar Panthers getting their first win of the season. What? Hey, first win, right? Right?
Yep. First win.
Oh
First
man.
win.
Now, I don't have a lot of fantasy stats going from the Texans. I don't really have any from the Panthers, but Bryce Young, 22 of 31, 235 with a touchdown, probably his best performance of the day because he had no picks. And Adam Thielen was able to be involved still with 8 for 72. That's about as good as you can get. Everybody else from this team stank, or this game stank. And someone named something Beck got a rushing touchdown. Don't even know who that is. What a waste of points that went to nobody useful. So,
Yeah.
they're trying, I guess. And then, crazy thing is Sanders was active for this game and did nothing, so got 2 attempts.
Yeah. I'm wondering where he's falling on that depth chart. I'm wondering how much
I like
they're
Miles
wondering.
Sanders. I like his talent, and when him and Saquon were paired up at Penn, like they were awesome. But I don't know where he fell off at. I don't know where Sanders fell apart at, and I feel for him because I actually like Sanders as a talent. So sucks.
Yeah. Chuba Hubbard had a lot of work in that game, more than Miles Sanders for sure.
And
But
rightfully so. Rightfully so.
you want to talk about a barn burner? It wasn't really a barn burner. This is a great game, actually. It was great all the way around. Um, I like PJ Walker. I don't think that he's a future starter by any means in any quarterback, but to play backup quarterback as well as he's played it in various different offenses and teams, he was 15 for 31, 248 and a touchdown. He did have 2 interceptions, which wasn't great. But he kept the Cleveland Browns alive, and they actually had a lead at one point. I think if I'm not mistaken, the lead that they had was 20-17 late in the third quarter before the Seattle Seahawks kind of scored on the last minute drive. So they had the lead and they had it for a while before Gino orchestrated a comeback drive. On the other side of the ball, they ran it pretty decent. Jerome Ford who I didn't expect to play today. He played. He had 9 carries for 37 yards. Um, Pierre Strong. I'm not sure who that is, but he had 10. He had 10 rushes for 41 yards, and to be led by Kareem Hunt, 14 for 55 and a TD. On the other side of it, PJ Walker found Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper it was. He had 6 for 89, and then he found David Njoku 4 for 77 and a TD. Everybody else just was, there.
Yep.
On the other side of the ball, though, Gino, I feel like he has to find a way to connect with DK. I feel like they're just throwing DK go balls, and it's just like that doesn't work. He have to have 14 targets and to have only 5 receptions is insane. Um,
Yeah.
it's not that I'm a Seahawks fan, so I'm watching games. It's not that DK isn't getting open; it's the route tree that they're having him run and trying to throw him the ball, and it's just not working. Right? It's just not working. I feel like if they change that up a little bit and get him in some different spots, maybe he could be 10 for 14, and Gino can move up to about 28 completions, and he could probably be in that 300 range instead of the 250 range.
Gotcha.
But DK had 5 receptions for 67 yards. TD, I call him TD Tyler Lockett because he's scoring TDs all the time, man. He had 8 for 81 in a TD. Jackson Smith and Jogba, 3 catches, 36 yards, and a TD for him. They ran the ball very efficiently as they normally do. 8 for 66 for Kenneth Walker and Zach Chabannet, 5 for 53. So this game had a little bit of scoring from everybody in it. If you started Amari Cooper, David Njoku, and then Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and of course Kenneth Walker um, had some love in there as well. Dorian Thompson Robinson got in the game and played. Keep an eye out for him. I don't think that he's going to take that job from PJ Walker, but
Yeah. Fair.
just keep an eye out for that.
Nice. Nope. I agree with all that. Well done. Good recap of your squad over there. It's so crazy that PJ Walker's keeping it competitive with everybody. I don't understand how that's working. Speaking about keeping it competitive over here, how in the heck did Denver keep it competitive against Kansas City and come up with the win? I don't know what's happening in football. I don't know who Patrick Mahomes is. He's not the same person that we know. I don't know. I mean, look, we're talking 24-38, 241, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, Kelsey is 6 for 58, still got some decent numbers, but holy cow, man, this is not. I mean, he found a bunch of people to pass to, but they all did nothing. I think it's this receiving core, man. Outside of Rashee Rice, everybody is just average. Just average. Like Justin Watson's back, did nothing. Scantlin's nothing. Gray's nothing. Harmon's nothing. Like, I hate to dog on these guys because they're NFL players, but my goodness, give that man something to work with.
Well, I mean, when much is given, much is required, right? Um, we expect him to elevate these guys, man. What was different about last year? What is Juju Smith-Schuster doing for the New England Patriots? Absolutely nothing. He revived his career last year with Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Miko Hardman left because of what he done last year with uh, Patrick Mahomes. Who else was there last year? Travis Kelce. And then they had a bunch of
But
decent
that's
guys just in the locker room.
but that's my point. Is like he elevated some of these guys before, and now these guys come back and they can't do anything. Or not come back, but Harmon came back. He can't do anything.
Well, it's his second week back. I mean, haven't even
As a
had
team
a
that's been
full.
on for 2 years prior, not like the offense changed that much.
Yeah, it has. They lost their offensive coordinator. Eric Bieniemy is not there anymore.
Yeah,
So
that's
they are
true.
running different stuff. They are running different stuff. I can see if it was just plug and play, but they are running
Yeah, but
different stuff.
they use
Eric
Hardman as
Bieniemy's gone.
gadget player. They don't really use him as much of anything that's complicated. So his role doesn't really change that much. He basically does what Kadarius Toney's supposed to be doing, and he can't do that. So is it the offensive change that's affecting Mahomes too?
I don't know, but like I said, much is given, much is required. We give him the pedestal of being the greatest quarterback of all time. Oh my God, he's gonna be better than Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. And then this is what he starts to do, right? Like after coming off a Super Bowl appearance, offense didn't change much, defense didn't change much, and then here we are looking at Patrick Mahomes throwing multiple interceptions per game.
Yep.
Not every game, but he's had
Yeah,
games where
a
he's
few.
thrown multiple interceptions this year.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, going to the Broncos side, not a lot of was needed for Russ because he was input in good field position a lot. He was 12 of 19 for 114 and 3 touchdowns. So just a super efficient day. Getting people involved, getting Jerry Judy and Sutton touchdowns involved. I mean, again, there wasn't a lot required. So to get 10 points Sutton in the PPR and what was it, like 17 or 16 or 17 out of Judy or whatever, a little bit less than that, 15 out of Judy. Um, that's about all you could ask for, man. It's kind of crazy that as well such an efficient day from them that there was still no point scored. I mean, and Jonathan or not Jonathan, Javonte Williams ran it 27 times, super inefficient, only for 85 yards. But that is a lot of work. That means that at some point, if this offense does figure it out, holy cow, could he be putting up some numbers? If they figure it out, that's a big if.
Big if. They're
Yeah,
heading in. They're just,
what's that?
I was just gonna say they're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, they're doing something. So we're gonna skip the Baltimore game because that's technically next on our list because I already recapped it early. So we're gonna go to Cincinnati.
And man, was this a good one, man, on both sides. Uh Not a lot of scoring from a TD perspective on the San Francisco side, but there was a lot of scoring, if you know what I mean. Brock Purdy threw the ball 22 times and had 365 yards. One TD, two interceptions. However, George Kittle, 9 receptions, 150 yards, right? Brandon Ayuk, 5 receptions, 109 yards. Christian McCaffrey, 6 receptions, 64 yards. And then there was nothing from there. I was wondering what happened to the likes of Ray McLeod, um, Jennings, after Brock Purdy spread the ball around so much last week. He kept it to his main guys, um, and he fed those guys, man, for sure. If you start, I mean, not if, because you do start these guys, all three of them, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and Brandon Ayuk. I'm sure they start on every fantasy football league team in the world. You got some good production out of those guys today. Brock Purdy was also on the ground today, which we don't normally see. 6 for 57 yards rushing. Christian McCaffrey, these last couple games, I think they missing Debo because he was 12 for 54. Just to kind of open up the field a little bit with some space for him to run the ball. It wasn't bad, 4.5 yards per carry, but it just doesn't look good, if you know what I mean. Um, on the other side, Joe Burrow is starting to look like Joe Burrow. He's starting to look healthy. He was 28 for 32. The guy only missed 4 passes. And this is the Joe Burrow that we were looking for. This is the Joe Burrow we love. This is the Joe Burrow we miss, right? This is the Joe Burrow I drafted. 28 for 283 and 3 touchdowns. He spread the thing around. He hit always open, 7-11. Jamar Chase, 10 for 100 and a TD. T. Higgins, what a day back, right? 5 receptions
Yep.
for 69 yards. Tyler Boyd, right? Best in the league at being the third best wide receiver on the team in the league, in my opinion. 3 for 40. He also hit 3 for 40 with a TD at that. And then Irv Smith, 4 for 25. I think Irv Smith is kind of taking over that tight end spot for these guys.
Yep.
So beware of that. Some guy, Andre, I don't know, 1 catch for 2 yards and a TD. I don't know who that is. But look out for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals on the uptick. These guys are coming back. Just a reminder, Joe Burrow and those guys are now 4-3. Everybody in that division is 4-3 except for the Baltimore Ravens, 6-2. And on the other side of the thing, after starting off so hot, the San Francisco 49ers have now dropped 3 in a row, 5-3. My Seattle
That's crazy,
Seahawks
by the way.
are in the number 1 place. But with that being said, shout
Crazy.
your Ravens out for being number 1 in their division. Shout my Seahawks out for being number 1 in my division. That's it from us, guys. Stay tuned for Legendary Sports Podcast. We love you. Thanks for supporting us, guys.
Appreciate y'all. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace.